I am super excited about this seafood smorgasbord that we've got here. Going to be creating a bit of a light and bright seafood paella, which I think is going to work really nicely. We've got Adam here from Wine Selectors with those beautiful wines.
Absolutely. And we've kind of focused on the McLaren Vale region, being close to the coast, having all this amazing seafood to work with. And McLaren Vale, rightly so, is one of our most famed regions for red wine, Shiraz.
Okay.
And also Grenache. But we've got two of the white wines that they're doing. They've kind of made a name for themselves in terms of championing what we call alternative or new wave varieties. And these two I've got in front of me, their history firmly stamped in the Mediterranean, particularly Italy.
Okay.
So I've got a Fiano and a Vermentino. And if you imagine yourself sitting in Italy by the seaside or on an island in the middle of the Med, then this is the type of stuff that you'd be drinking. So I'll pour these
while we get started. So we're going to start this dish as similar to how you would do a risotto. By that I mean sweating off some onions.
Okay.
Great flavour base. And I'm going to put my garlic in there as well. So we want to get this to about a translucent kind of look.
Okay.
And then we can start to add our other ingredients. Now I say this is slightly risotto inspired, slightly paella inspired. We don't have any spicy sausage, we don't have any chicken thighs, nothing in there like that. So we're sort of really celebrating the coastal seafood.
Yes.
So you do what you can with where you are.
Absolutely.
So if we were in South Australia and we're along that coast, we might use the gulla pippies or the beautiful garfish or the King George whiting.
Yes.
Today we're going to be using some other types of shellfish. So we've got some clams here, some scallops and some squid.
Perfect.
And then almost everything else, rather than using sort of those spicy red colours that you probably associate with a paella, we're using lots of yellow and bright colours.
Okay, excellent. And I think these two wines I've got in front of me, despite the Vermentino perhaps being a little bit lighter than what the Fiano is, both of them have this backbone of acidity, and that makes sure your mouth watering, really crisp. And if you think of it, I see you've got lemon and preserved lemon there. Think of it like that citrus element that you add to food, and that really gives freshness and brightness and vitality. And if we're by the beach and hopefully the sun's out, we want something that's got a real punch and vitality.
I'm really excited about that because, yes, as you said, we're celebrating citrus. So to have another element of that with seafood, couldn't get much better than that. So we've got some celery. So it is a little bit green, but still the whitest part of the celery, keeping in colour theme with our dish here. And then we've got some yellow capsicum. So again, you could use other colour capsicums, but a bit of the fun of this dish is the colours and textures.
Exactly.
What makes McLaren Vale so good for growing wine grapes?
It's their true Mediterranean climate. That's the easiest way to describe it, and that's the secret to what they do. They've realised that they have a unique environment for growing grapes, and they've figured out that perhaps these varieties like Fiano and Vermentino that hail from similar Mediterranean climates in their homeland would work really well. And they've had a raging success, and they are one of the leading wine regions in the country for showcasing what these alternative or new wave varieties can be like.
I'm going to put the rice in now. So all of our veggies are quite translucent, so we're happy with that. We're going to get a little bit of translucency on our rice, and we sort of stir it to a certain point like you would a risotto, but then we stop. And that's when we get that beautiful crusty bottom that is synonymous with paella. So we're sort of putting all of that in. We can see the rice changing quite quickly. So a short grain rice is great for this, low starch. So there's several Spanish options out there, but you could use a Borio. So I've got some preserved lemon here, so one of our lemon elements.
Perfect.
We've also got some lemon zest. Got some saffron here, and this is pretty much key to making this dish sunshine-like.
One of the most expensive ingredients
One of the
in the world,
most expensive ingredients. More expensive than gold by weight. So I'm going to add some stock. You could use vegetable, salt reduced. Now you could use chicken or seafood if you wanted to, but I feel like we've got enough flavours going on with everything else.
Absolutely.
So So we've got our rice to about 3/4 cooked. No stirring, so we really want that crust to form on the bottom. So I'm actually going to increase the temperature. I'm going to put our last little bit of stock in. And because we're lacking in fat, what would otherwise be provided for using chicken thighs or spicy sausage or chorizo or something like that, we're actually going to add quite a bit of butter, which is going to add to the flavour and to the sort of mouthfeel of this dish.
Okay, so
because
it just brings in a creaminess, is that right?
A creaminess, it helps that crust form on the bottom. And in terms of being quite complementary to our lean seafood.
Beautiful.
So we'll put our clams in.
Butter and seafood.
Does it get much better than that?
You could stop right there.
You really could.
A television show on those two ingredients.
Nice bottle of wine. So they're going to take the longest. So we'll sort of let them be for a couple minutes before we add our scallops, before we add our squid.
If you had prawns, when would you add the prawns in?
Depending on the size of them.
Sure.
So I'd probably add them the same time as the clams if you had left their tails on, their heads on if you wanted to.
Okay.
So similarly, we've got two types of scallops here. These ones are a little bigger. I'm happy to pop those bigger ones in now. Give it a couple minutes and we'll add the smaller seafood. So our paella's had about 20 minutes sort of crusting up and those sorts of things, and the heat from underneath has cooked all of the seafood. You can see all of those beautiful clams have opened.
It's magic.
So I'm really excited. We can see that most of the liquid has been evaporated, so there'll be a nice crust on the bottom, so nice little extra texture. Now I've got a few dressings. We would usually serve it, I'm happy to serve it in the pan. So put it in front of your guests, everyone can dig in. I know I've kept it all yellow until now, but I'm gonna add a little bit of greenery and some parsley here.
So this is just not a serve for one.
Well, I guess it depends when the last time you ate was.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got some chili here, so optional chili. You can use a mild one if you wish. I just really love the little flecks of red, and in keeping in Spanish tradition, a little bit of heat is definitely quite gorgeous. Now our final ingredient is a bit special. This is also from South Australia, so a lobster oil.
Wow.
So someone has taken the time and effort to stink up their premises, get this beautiful lobster oil. Saves us doing it, but it also adds just an extra sort of punch of seafood, seafoody goodness to our beautiful paella. As much or as little as you like, but I really would use this as a dressing oil rather than a cooking oil.
Mediterranean sunset kind of feel, isn't it? Oh
my goodness.
McLaren Vale sunset
so much
kind of feel.
Warmth in there. So I'm really happy with that.
It's been alluring just standing over this pan, smelling all those aromas.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We better get stuck into this.
Cheers.